Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. What's going on, guys? Do yourself a damn favor, hit the subscribe button, and surely you will not be disappointed. Okay, let's talk about some interesting stuff going on in the world of boxing because Ring Magazine, aka the Bible of Boxing, they recently just updated their heavyweight rankings. They updated heavyweight rankings and interesting stuff. Tyson Fury rises to number 2 in the Ring Magazine heavyweight rankings, ahead of one Deontay Wilder. So, for those of you who may be wondering, what do the heavyweight rankings at Ring look like since I brought them up, they read as follows. Number 1, Anthony Joshua. Number 2, Tyson Fury. Number 3, Deontay Wilder. Number 4, Luis King Kong Ortiz. Number 5, Dillian White. Number 6, Alexander Povetkin. Number 7, Joseph Parker. Number 8, Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Number 9, Adam Konaki. And number 10, Kubrat Pulev. That's your Ring Magazine heavyweight top 10. Now, the panelists that vote on these rankings consists of a couple prominent names in the boxing media, some that you may or may not be familiar with. People like Anson Wainwright, Mike Coppinger, Tom Gray, and then also the YTBC's very own Michael Montero. Shout out to Montero Unboxing. Go subscribe to Michael Montero. Puts out heat all the time. Got nothing but respect and love for Mr. Michael Montero. I like his channel. With that being said, I'll just run through what these guys said, and you guys can click on the article down below and come to your own surmise and your own conclusion. Here's what some of the panelists said. Associate Editor Tom Gray of Ring Magazine stated the following in regards to Fury being number 2 over Deontay Wilder. He said, I quote, Fury by overwhelming consensus won the fight. I do not have the monopoly on the truth, but I have encountered 3 people who felt differently. Forget subjective scoring. Forget the usual drivel that gets spouted on social media in an attempt to avoid the obvious. Wilder lost, and poll averages I've seen favor Fury 75-25. By not acknowledging who won the draw, we effectively endorse the 115-111 scorecard that was submitted by an inept judge who had the temerity to give Wilder the first 4 rounds. This is absolutely disgusting. Fury has a better resume, and he won the fight. Why should Wilder be above him because Christmas came early? Our decision should be based on who we thought won the fight on points. That's what it is there. So, yeah, man, I mean, first of all, I think that's a very good assessment, because, look, you can think, and my thing is this. As far as who the best heavyweight in the world is, that's a much more fluid question than it used to be because it really was just like you either said Wilder or Joshua, but now with Fury in the picture, it becomes a much tougher question to answer because a lot of people thought Fury won. He was already the lineal heavyweight champion. And on top of that, he beat Vladimir Klitschko. He had, the way he did it as well. So he has a legitimate claim to that throne, and to do what he did against Wilder, and people like I've seen, I've been covering boxing on YouTube for 3 going on 4 years now, and seldomly have I seen so many people from so many different perspectives and viewpoints agree on such a fight. This horrible decision in many ways has kind of united the boxing world on all fronts. You got people who hated Tyson Fury, you got people who usually hate Tyson Fury, saying that he won the fight. You got obviously people like myself who like Fury saying he won the fight. And it's just like, I really haven't seen it so one-sided in terms of the popular opinion. Obviously, Wilder has his he has a handful of people here and there who think he won, but don't blame them. They're just inept. But yeah, man, it's a much more fluid question now. But yeah, I agree. By keeping Wilder by holding Wilder above Fury in any way, shape, or form, based on the fact that Fury had a better resume than Wilder coming into the fight, and the majority of people thought he beat Wilder. Okay, you're endorsing a horrible, horrible scorecard. You don't want to endorse any more bullshit in boxing. And that 115-111 scorecard from Alejandro Rochin was the definition of a bullshit scorecard. Okay, and on True School Sports, okay, on this channel, we will not endorse bullshit. You can go to other channels for that, but on this channel here, we will tell the truth as it is. With that being said, man, Wilder was saved. We know Wilder was saved by the three blind mice, otherwise known as the California State Athletic Commission judges for the fight. And we're not going to. And I'm glad Ring Magazine did not reward him for the judges being inept. Fury won the fight. People recognize it. Good on people like Tom Gray who are putting this in the article. Michael Montero, I'll read his quotes because Michael Montero, he's a proud member of the YouTube boxing community. I like his channel. Here's what he said, and this is in the Ring article itself, so you can read his quotes for yourself. He said, I quote, Wilder and Fury are interchangeable at number 2 and number 3, in my opinion. I can see it in either order. Wilder was number 2 before the Fury bout, and technically it was scored a draw, so it's hard to move him down. I can see where some readers may take issue with that. Then again, most readers probably had Fury winning. How do we handle this after the first Canelo, Golovkin, and Ward Kovalev fights? We should probably keep it consistent. I had Fury edging it out, but all the talk of robbery is hyperbole. Considering the 2 knockdowns, I was cool with the draw, although Alejandro Rochin's scorecard was atrocious. Though that's the assessment for Michael Montero. Now look, Montero, from my experience with him and talking to him like on Facebook and stuff, and I saw him briefly at a fight a couple years ago. Good guy from what I can see, stand-up guy. Usually pretty balanced with his opinions, but he's usually always like, he never, I think he tells the truth, but he's always balanced to what I call balance to a fault. I think a lot of the really good media members in boxing are kind of like this. Probably my best friend in all, arguably my best friend in all boxing, Sean Tatel, he's that way. He's non-biased to a fault. Like sometimes it's like, I like you get people like me who sometimes can be very one-sided when they see things, but then you get people like Sean Tatel who are like, they try to like see everything, but then sometimes when something is so obvious, they just don't call it as they see it. And that's one of those situations with Montero. It's not hyperbole, in my opinion, to say that this was a robbery. It was a robbery. It was a heist. It was like me going to Publix supermarket right now, going to the liquor store and grabbing 6 bottles of Chardonnay off the shelf, smashing them on the floor, and then grabbing another 6 bottles and walking out. It was that bad. It was a horrible robbery. It was like, imagine if I did that and then didn't get arrested. That's what this was to me. It was the equivalent of me going to a local supermarket, smashing 6 bottles of alcohol on the floor, then getting another 6 and walking out nonchalantly without any sort of consequences. That's what Wilder getting a draw against Fury was, in my opinion. But it's good to see that Ring Magazine as a whole, as a collective, Mike Coppinger, all these guys, at least they saw what most of the world saw, and they're not further giving credence and relevancy to the bullshit scorecards that was Wilder versus Fury. So that's just my assessment of it. To go through the rankings once more, you have Anthony Joshua number 1, Fury 2. I think to me they're like 1A and 1B. Obviously, I think you have to give the slight edge to Joshua just because in terms of recent accomplishments, he's beaten a whole host of contenders and champions, from the likes of Klitschko to Dillian White to Joseph Parker to Alexander Povetkin. I mean, just alone in the top 10 of Ring, he's beaten White, he's beaten Povetkin, he beat Parker. All these guys are in the top 10. They actually rank 5, 6, and 7. So, and when he beat these guys, when he beat White, they were British, they were prospects. But when he beat Povetkin and Parker, Povetkin was in the top 5 and Parker was in the top 5. So he beat them when they were like really highly ranked, and he beat them pretty soundly. Even though I'll say in the Parker fight looked pretty trash. Not trash, but he looked very underwhelming. He didn't look like, it wasn't the most sensational performance from Anthony Joshua. But it was a fight where he began to show his maturation as a fighter. So sometimes, you can't expect to look good every fight or as good as you normally look. Look at Lomachenko in his last fight against Pedraza. He had some moments and he looked fantastic in some moments, but it wasn't like the barrage every round we see from him, like we saw in the Walters fights or those like amazing performances from Lomachenko. But it was still a good performance. So I think he's matured as a fighter, and you got to give him the slight edge. But when you look at what Fury did in the fight against Wilder, coming off a layoff, knowing that he won the fight on the road, didn't get the decision, but then you also factor in that he beat Klitschko, and Klitschko was the man. He's like, Fury was the man that beat the man, and he's back in the division. So there's an argument to be made there. I think they're 1A and 1B, but I have no problem with Joshua being number 1 and Fury being number 2. So yeah, Joshua 1, Fury 2, Wilder 3, Luis Ortiz at 4, Dillian White number 5, Povetkin at 6, Joseph Parker 7, Jarrell Miller 8. Adam Konaki 9, and Kubrat Pulev 10. I would say my only disagreement with this list is that I think Parker is rated a little too high and Drummond is rated a little too low. I think Parker, he fought some good fighters this year in Joshua and Dillian White, but in both fights, excluding the 12th round against Dillian White, he left a lot to be desired, and I don't know, man. I think once Drummond gets those big fights, I'm not saying he'll even win the big fight, but I think he's going to get a way better account of himself than Joseph Parker did against, like Joshua or Dillian White, because Parker he just doesn't let his hands go. Like it seems like in almost all of his fights recently, he's been leaving a lot to be desired. So I'd put Jarrell over because Jarrell is fighting lower opposition. That's maybe true, but look what he's doing against him. He's getting him out of there in impressive fashion, and that's something that even Parker struggled when he was a pro, like when he was coming up. Like he fought what's his name, Rojavon Kadnu, whatever that guy's name is. The guy that fought Luis Ortiz, and I don't think he stopped him. I think he had a hard time stopping him. Jarrell is fighting these guys, and he's getting guys like Thomas Adamek. Yeah, he's shot, but still an experienced fighter who would know how to survive. We've seen it before in boxing, where you can fight a guy who is shot, but they don't know how to they know how to survive. They can fight in a way where they make it hard for you to really hurt them. But he's been showing, in my opinion, his last couple fights, the ability to finish. That's what he's improving at to me. So I'll probably rate him over Parker, but either way, not a bad list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, moves to number 2 above Deontay the Bronze Man Wilder. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single video, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.